I'd like to. I cannot. Gentlemen of the board, I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. 1:30 p.m. on June 24th. If you would all please join us in the pledge. I usually ask a veteran to start us. Is there anyone that's a veteran other than Pat here today? I'd like to start the pledge. All right, sir, would you start us off? Thank you so much.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And thank you for your service. All right, we're going to open today's meeting. I think we have a few modifications to today's agenda. So our attorney, Emily.
Prepared them for myself and I email her twice up to speed as we grow. All right, well, that's not gonna do it either. Let's do it by memory. Okay. So we have 3 amendments to request from the board today. The first one near the top of the agenda, probably perhaps even next, if the board is okay with it, would be to swear in Brian Waldes as a member of our board of directors. He's serving as acting city manager and so is taking over Jim's spot on the board. Like last month, once Brian is sworn in, we will need to take a brief 3 to 5 minute recess to allow Christy to file that oath with the county clerk before proceeding. Then Andrea, I know you had an amendment. Where would you like that to appear?
Oh, I don't really care. We can do maybe after 9, I think is proper, or after the executive session. I don't care.
Let's do it after 9, and that would be to propose an appropriation for the purposes of seeking a study into overtime.
Yes, not overtime specifically. It's
Compilation.
Compilation, that was the word.
Compilation and compensation
Yes,
analysis.
compilation and compensation analysis, but yes, to include overtime, yes.
All right. And then the third is we will be asking the board for an executive session today, so that's already listed on the agenda as item 10. But to specify that this would be an executive session pursuant to CRS 246402(4)B and E, to receive advice of legal counsel, discuss matters subject to negotiation, and instruct negotiators related to the collective bargaining negotiations.
Excellent. And our chief has already been in contact with the president of the union to let him know that that item is on here.
Yes.
Even though it didn't get printed on.
Yes.
So, I don't know if, I guess with no objection, we will make those modifications to the agenda. Thank you, Emily. If that could be noted as well. And let's get Brian on board. No pun intended. Maybe pun intended.
All right, Brian, it's good to see you this morning, this afternoon. I'm going to, this is pretty simple, but I'll read it and you can just repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Brian Waldes,
I, Brian Waldes,
do affirm
do affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of Director
of the office of Director,
on which I am about to enter
on which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
You're on board.
Wonderful.
Then count if he doesn't raise his right hand.
I thought I'd have
All the jazz on it.
Well, welcome, Director Waldes. We have opportunity leader for,
Thank you.
I believe we have opportunity later for directors to say anything if they'd like, but as the newest member,
Sorry?
sorry. I was carrying on business while you were carrying on business. That's my bad. Is there anything you'd like to say as new director?
I would, no, thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I just want to say I've been coming to these meetings for over 4 years now. I am familiar enough, I think, with what this organization does, what the challenges are, and you know, the nature of our relationship with the LFRA, and with our partners on the rural board. And I am, you know, very excited to keep the momentum going in terms of increasing transparency and a better financial plan for this organization. That I don't think we can say strongly enough, discussions I have had with our partners on the rural board, and of course with our council, we can't express strongly enough that the number one priority for us is the safety and the compensation of the firefighters in this organization. And to see that we can provide for a sustainable, realistic financial plan for that. And after we do that, we can figure the rest out together as a team. And that is what I am dedicated to. I know what everybody up here is dedicated to. I'm very, very excited to, play a temporary role here and keep the momentum going, because I know we can get this solved together. That's the only way we're getting it solved. So I'm very humbled and excited to be sitting here and to play a role. Thank you very much. I know I was expecting a round of applause, so. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, so we will need to have about a 5-minute recess. Well, Christy has an opportunity to upload everything into the system, so we will come back at, oh, perfect, 1:40. I love round numbers. So we're in recess. Thank you. Are you So we will bring this meeting back to order. I was remiss in not calling for roll call, Christie, from you, so everyone's here. Everyone's here. All right, and I guess without objection, we also would approve the consent agenda. Objection, all right.
Yeah.
Moving on, we will start with our first item on the regular agenda, consider a request for reconsideration of fire impact fee assessment from Rodney Mayo. Chief, are you? Oh, Sarah, excellent. All right, thank you.
Good to see you guys again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Kind of as I mentioned last time, I would recommend that we uphold the current policy that we have and not approve this impact fee waiver. Like I kind of mentioned last time, I'll go through it a little bit more. The impact fee is not based on the actual fire characteristic risks of the project. It's really intended to uphold the infrastructure of where that house is. So by waiving it for one person, it actually impacts other people. The other piece of it is that it covers the cost of anything that we need to expand just to maintain our current level of service. It does not go anywhere above and beyond to help us improve our services, just to maintain, we need these fees. So I understand, that that's frustrating, and I acknowledge that with Mr. Mayo, but it's kind of where we're at. We did have a study done in 2025 that very clearly detailed why we have these fees and referenced many of the state statutes that allows us to charge these fees. So I would encourage you, if you have further questions, ask about those. And yeah, that recommends to do those studies every 5 years. So we're only a year out from those studies. So based on that, I recommend that we do not do this, we uphold our policy. Is there any questions?
We as legal counsel also took a look back through the authorities adopting resolutions as well as the statutes that authorize the assessment and collection of impact fees. We don't find anything that would authorize the fee waiver on the basis requested. The only statutorily authorized or statutory provision that expressly permits waivers are for low income and affordable employee housing. So legal is looking at this through a different lens, but arrived at the same conclusion as well.
Thank you.
And I think with that, Mr. Mayo is here. So if you have.
Sarah, if I could, so you're obviously well connected into the area. Are there any other areas, any other jurisdictions where they have waived fees? Have you ever looked into that?
I haven't had a chance to look into that. That's certainly something that I could do at the direction of the board. I think based on, because this study was done so recently and this was what was recommended, the board at that time wanted just to go with that information.
Okay, thank you.
And I also remiss, I need to make notes for myself that I didn't give public comment where maybe Mr. Mayo would have generally had an opportunity to give comment. So if it's all right with the board, I'll offer that opportunity and then we can have public comment after this item. So Mr. Mayo, if you would like to speak to this oh, excuse me, I'm just assuming because you're sitting close to the speaker, you're Mr. Mayo. I apologize, Mr. Mayo.
Thanks. I think I'm down to a minute and a half, so bear with me. Thanks for having me speak. That information is good. Kind of wish I'd have known in more detail of it, but I'm gonna go ahead and announce what I was gonna say. I'm a native born Lovelander. I was born in the old Loveland Hospital, and I respectfully ask the board to consider the fire impact fee assessed on my new home being reconsidered. I want you to all know that I respect the fire authority and understand the important role it serves on our community. And this is not an attempt to avoid my fair share of taxes. My concern is my home is not a conventional wood framed residence. The entire structure system, including the walls, floor joists, roof trusses, and framing, is being built out of 18 gauge galvanized steel. In addition, I'm installing gypsum concrete floor systems. And on the exterior, I'm using steel siding and stone wainscoting, which further reduces the amount of combustible material in the structure. I made these choices intentionally, and in consideration, I did considerably additional expenses create a substantially more fire resistant home and reduce the fire hazard. I was genuinely surprised to learn about this fee through the planning and design process at Larimer County. I believe that a significant portion of the fire protection services were already supported through my property taxes, which I pay every year. pay about $8,000 a year in taxes with no home on it. My neighbors pay about $5,000 with a home on it. Makes no sense, but I'm building the home so I can save $2,000. It wasn't until much later in the process that I learned the additional fee would be required before my permit could be issued. What I'm struggling to understand is why a home significantly designed to reduce combustible materials and a fire risk is treated exactly the same as a conventional home, wood framed home under the current fee structure. As a 100% disabled board vet and one who's recently completed chemotherapy and I'm cancer free, had to throw that in there, from pancreatic cancer, and then I'm living now on disability money. I am simply asking for a fair consideration and recognition that this project is materially different from your typical residential build. And the last thing is, I'm struggling to understand is why a home specifically designed to reduce combustible materials and fire risk is treated exactly the same as a conventional wood framed home under the current fee structure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Congratulations.
But if I can afford to build it.
Yeah. So with that, any additional questions for Sarah? Does the board have anything they'd like to say?
If you could respond to the question.
Yeah, absolutely. You want me to respond to you guys or to Mr. Mayo?
But
Everyone.
Everyone, okay. So, Mr. Mayo, I also thank you for your service. I think your house sounds really cool. As a firefighter for 20 years and seeing houses burn down, it does sound like it would definitely withstand a fire. That said, a lot of times what burns in a house is what we put in it. That's what has really nasty smoke, tends to catch fire. That's what leads to structure burning. So that's another reason that these two things aren't exactly connected. Additionally, when I was looking at your property taxes from last year, it looks like they are $8,500, about $815 of that goes to the fire department. So a much smaller proportion. So
Oh, yeah, but you have 200,000 people in the area.
we do, and we also have to serve those 200,000
I am.
people. So I would welcome further conversation if you would like to see that. I know we can respond to the 4 things that you asked for in your letter. I was waiting, I need the opportunity to speak with our council before I do that.
If it's not a waiver, I'd like to ask a considerably lesser, because it is a big structure, building a lot of storage and shop space.
Yeah, it's like,
So it's not a 9,000 square foot house, it's a 9,000 square foot structure with a shop.
So you gave your public comment. We heard you, but I appreciate that and I appreciate the conversation. And I think actually our legal counsel has a
So-
suggestion.
Yeah, so there's a lot of information that I think we need to have a more comprehensive conversation about impact fees. And I know we have a lot of new board members, and I don't want to use up all the time today, but I think it's important to know that the board does not choose the amount of its impact fee, and nor does it choose how it's assessed on property. There is an extraordinary amount of constitutional case law that goes into impact fees, which are called sometimes exactions, and how and when you can charge an impact fee. In general, you're not allowed to reduce impact fees on certain types of property and not other. That can be considered an unconstitutional taking. It's a lot of stuff. But what it comes down to is in order to set its impact fee, the board actually hires an economics consulting firm. And in this case, the board hired a well-known company called BBC Consulting. And the consulting firm does a study of the district's assets and then all of the development that occurs in its jurisdiction. And it's actually the consulting firm that establishes that impact fee amount. And the consulting firm is very well versed in all of the constitutional and legal principles that go into things like reductions and waivers. I have never seen an impact fee study that takes into account building materials, but I've also, historically, we haven't seen the type of wildfire resiliency building materials and things being used with a frequency that is now becoming more common due to the wildfire resiliency code. It would be possible for the board to go back to BBC and ask this question. Did you consider it? Why or why not? If you didn't consider it, could you? If you can, how would it change things, right? But those are all decisions not for this board, but for actually the economics consulting firm that set the schedule. Does that make sense?
So I would assume we would need a motion if that's the
Yeah,
direction.
just
we
a
want
motion to
take as a
direct,
board.
probably staff and council so that I can send the questions to BBC. But to reach out to our contacts at BBC and just ask them these questions, because I honestly don't know the answers.
Yeah, so, what do you think a turnaround time would be on that?
Oh, it depends on how busy they are. They're usually pretty responsive.
Okay, so maybe no more than 2 weeks.
I would hope we would have an answer by the July board meeting.
Okay, so a month perhaps. Mr. Mayo, if we did not make a decision on this until the next meeting, would that cause any problem for you?
I've already been waiting 5 months for the county to approve my permit. They've had my paperwork for 5 months. It was supposed to be 68 weeks. I was supposed to be living in the house by now. Then this came up, I got the letter in the mail. It was a surprise to me. So what I'd ask is if I could put a deposit down.
Yeah.
Half of or something, just so I can get that letter, because I'm literally a day away from getting my permit. I just have to show it some insulation criteria of how I'm insulating the roof. So,
Would you be?
and I need this.
Yeah, I can live with that. If we did say a 50% deposit with the understanding that depending on what we hear from BBC and the board's final decision, you'll either make full payment or the board will refund.
Now it's the full payment. Like I said, it's a 9,000 square foot structure, but it's kind of like a barn dominium,
Mhm.
but it looks like a house. So I have over 5,000 square foot of unused space, 2,500 square foot of shop, 3,400 square foot of living area.
There are different fees for residential property versus say commercial or industrial, so we would need to look at what does that shop look like? Is it really a warehouse? Because then it would be subject to like a commercial rate, which would be a different amount.
It's all based on square footage.
Yeah.
For residential, and would I be charged the 9,000 or the 3,400?
Yeah, we would have to look at that offline, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could we maybe just do a motion, if anyone would like to make a motion, we could entertain the conversation. That we, would instruct or direct legal to get in touch with the.
Legal and staff, I'd like to
Legal
work with
staff,
Chief
BBC.
Marowski with this, on this as well.
And also to connect with Mr. Mayo regarding a deposit.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll get it worked out.
Madam Chair, may
yes,
Oh, go ahead.
if we would want to go that direction.
I make a comment?
Yes,
Mr. Mayor, I think that's great how you're building your structure. And Sarah, I guess it's to you as well. So is there, we're trying to increase the awareness of using non-combustibles, whether it be landscaping, what have you. I mean, is this the stake in the ground to say, maybe we should reward people for actually doing that? I mean, I'm just one person on the board here, but do we make that saying, you know what, we want to reward people? I understand when you have a business to run it, get that totally, Sarah. But at the same time, is there something that we can say, look, we're rewarding people for building a structure that is a lot more fireproof than my stick-built home?
Yeah, I hear you, Director Bukowski, excuse me. And I think that that is something that could be considered. My understanding as your fire code official is that I would need that direction, through you from Chief Marowski to me, I think is.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm kind of in this role, but I think that that's where that would come from.
Yes.
So.
I'm just asking your opinion, Sarah.
And I just want to make sure you don't get into legal trouble doing that, which is why I'd like to talk to BBC first.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think for me, sorry.
No, go for it. Finish your comment. I've got a procedural question.
I was just gonna say, just for that kind of point, Director Bukowski, what I do as a fire code official, is not necessarily share my opinion. I follow the code book and I follow the guidelines set forth
Fair
by you guys.
Fair.
There's not a lot of room for my opinion in this, so I'm not really comfortable.
Fair enough, Sarah. Thank you.
So, and I have a procedural question. That's this. Should it be one motion or should it be two motions? One to table this item to the next board meeting and a second motion to direct looking into the contractors that we use to be able to do this, as well as dealing with Mr. Mayo on his deposit.
I think that's just fine, Andrea, I'll leave that up to you.
yeah, I mean, I had one written out that was just one, but if you
If
want
we
to
do
do.
it, if we do it one, I'm fine too. I
Yeah,
just wanna
Emily
make
will
sure.
accept one,
I'll accept one.
then we have less minutes. So, Brian, excuse me, Director Waldes, and I apologize, I have been calling you all by your first name and you too. I apologize, Fire Marshal Winters.
You know, my mom appreciates that first name she gave me.
Well, know that I have to call you Patty. So I apologize. If you would, yes,
Thank
sorry.
you, Chair. I just want to speak quickly. I don't have a lot of familiarity with, fire safety impact fees necessarily, but I do with impact fees in general. And to try to carve out a piece of it, kind of as council was saying, you get into a lot of trouble. And because when they do these studies, they consider the entire area. And your house may be fire safe, but your neighbors may not be, right? And that could cause a conflagration, right, that affects the whole neighborhood, and those kinds of things are considered when they look at impact fees. So to treat one member of the population differently, you can run into issues because the plan is for the whole area, serving the whole area, as Sarah was saying. So I know sometimes that can seem like, but mine is different. Well, it's part of a population that really needs to be treated uniformly. So you know, that can certainly be frustrating when it comes down to the individual level, but there's a logic behind it. So.
I'm just gonna hand these flyers out. Maybe everybody can get educated on how houses are probably gonna be built in the future. 70% of the homes in New Zealand are built this way.
Thank you. I
No
appreciate
wood,
that.
but
Thank you.
I appreciate the board. I'll get with Christie on the
Oh,
statement.
Well, wait till we make a motion. Yeah.
Not quite done. You should be used to the governmental bureaucracy by now, after 5 months of waiting, right? All right, so did our board have anything else to state? I agree with you, Director Waldes. That was something that I was thinking of, is that these go for more than just that individual structure, but I think the individual structure, you know, it's worth taking into consideration. So at least having a look at.
Next
how
time
things
we
are
do
done.
the impact fee study,
Right.
incorporate that into the whole study.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, I think that's a good idea. But I am willing to go back and talk to our consultants and, you know, see if there's something that can be done personally. So if there's a motion out there for that or any other motion, Director Loveland, did you have something you want to say?
I have nothing.
Okay, I wrote a motion. Do you want me to make the
Please,
motion?
yes.
Okay, so I move to direct legal and staff to go back to BBC and ask for reconsideration of fees and to connect, for legal to connect with Mr. Mayo regarding the deposit. And then bring the information from BBC back to the next meeting.
Second that.
So, any discussion?
What do we do with the item on the agenda?
Just.
That would be the new motion. Did we make a motion for that? I don't think we made a motion for that.
Okay.
So that's
Fair
the
enough.
motion.
And I'll actually get in touch with Christie, and Christie, you can coordinate between me and Mr. Mayo. Does that work?
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do a roll call then if we could, please, Christie.
Director Simpson,
Yes.
Director Jeff,
Yes.
Director Lindquist,
Yes.
Director Rincon,
Yes.
Director Waldes.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Forward to more conversation. Thank you, Director Marshall.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. Mayo.
Mr.
Yes,
Thanks for the good work.
thank
I
you.
want to come see this.
Yes, I know. How about you throw us a little, like show open house? How about that? We'd like to come check it out.
It is probably one of the first in the state.
Sounds
County
very cool.
Looked at me funny, why I'm building a house, that's the deal, but it is being done overseas. I spent 17 years overseas. And I've seen it done and I really like it.
It's very neat. Thank you for sharing with
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
For years.
All right, so next item on the agenda is going to be public comment, since I missed that without objection from the board. We can open public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to give public comment at this time? No, quiet. That's nice. Okay, anyone online that would like to give public comment?
Anyone online who would like to make public comment, please use the raise your hand feature. Not have any raised.
All right, good. That makes me feel better about accidentally skipping it. Okay, so our next item then, to consider a motion to approve resolution R-186, modifying the terms of service of members of the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority Retirement Committee. And I would assume that our chief presents this item.
Well, actually, no.
Oh, I assume
Madam
not.
Chair, Andrea Smith is gonna take this
Excellent,
one on.
thank you.
And I'm
Okay,
happy to do that, but did we do consent attendance?
we did.
Okay.
We didn't really vote. I just said without objection,
Okay.
so, yeah,
Okay.
outside the norm.
So this one's pretty easy and straightforward. About a year ago, this board approved adding 2 members to the retirement committee. As we were doing that, we got looking at what the term, the end of the terms were, and all but one person ends at the exact same time in 2029, which is not ideal.
It won't be a mess.
So, legal counsel, not Emily, someone else from her firm, drafted this resolution to create staggered terms.
Fantastic.
Just to avoid a whole new board all at once. Or committee, I guess.
I appreciate that. That's good looking out. All right, do we have any questions from the board regarding this item? No? Pretty self-explanatory. In that case, I would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
To approve resolution R 186. Okay. We have a motion and a second by Director Lundquist, I believe. Okay, roll call, please.
Director Sampson,
Yes.
Director Patel,
Yes, ma'am.
Director Lundquist,
Yes.
Director McFall,
Yes.
Director Waldes.
Yes.
Excellent, the motion passes, so thank you, Andrea. We'll go ahead and move on to the next item, update on executive search firm progress. And I'm not even gonna guess who's doing
Madam
this.
Chair, this is mine.
Okay.
In fact, I think the next three are mine.
Excellent. I'll
Just for
make note.
clarity. Thank you all today for being here and letting us bring this forward. This item is for adoption of the resolution that's attached to this cover sheet. And really what this does is allow us to take the next steps in the hiring process for our next fire chief. Just a little bit of background on this. I know this information is in here, but I'll try to synthesize this a bit just for the salient points here, but the board discussed these issues, many of these issues, in the April 29th meeting when we started discussing what needed to take place for the search for your next fire chief. Since that time, we have selected a search firm. SGR was selected. We approved the search committee numbers, not specifically who would fill those positions. And we looked at the job description and the salary range for the position. So what's next today is we're looking for board approval here for the chief's job description, which is included in this packet. The position brochure, which is new and unveiled publicly for the first time. This was a compilation of work of both SGR and our staff here, our executive staff, predominantly Christy and Andrea Wright, to get this put together, and our executive team looked it over and approved its final structure that you're looking at today. Also in this resolution contains the specific people to fulfill those positions for the search committee. That's on page 2 of the handout here in the resolution, actually.
Mhm.
And then the last thing on here is the hiring process timelines. So that's a lot to be looking at and for you to approve at once, but that's what's before you today.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board? Did you want a minute to kind of digest that?
Brochure looks awesome.
Mhm.
Good job.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that, Director Bukowski. Again, I think our colleagues at SGR did a good job getting it going, but in fairness to them, they don't live here. And they don't really know exactly who Loveland Fire Rescue Authority is. We, on the other hand, do live here and we know who we are, and so does our staff. So that's what you see there.
Can I highlight?
Yes, please.
Yes.
In the job description, we do have one change from what was in the packet, but it's just separated the bullet underneath the requirements, so it's not a substantial change, but I do want to draw your attention to the residency requirement, because we have not discussed that publicly. That's on page 5 to 6. We have in here that they must establish and maintain legal residency within the authority's primary response area, or as mutually agreed upon by the fire chief and the LFRA board of directors within 6 months of appointment. Asking for your thoughts on that.
I think that's fine.
I like it.
Yeah. Requirement. Yeah. It's pretty simple, right?
And Madam Chair,
Lots of wiggle room. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I also have a mea culpa for you today with this.
You don't live there?
Yeah, I messed this up, Director. What happened here was when we put this together, we had 2 board members We had the city manager's designee, which we penciled in Brian for that. And then we got the list established. 9 members, just as Director McFall had requested. And then Christie, with her laser vision on this, said, what are you guys doing? There's 3 board members on here. That's gonna constitute a public meeting. So I'm the one that messed that up, just so you know.
It's no worries. It's-
That's the worst thing you do, chief, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm sure. it won't.
Oversight, we've all done it. And it does say in the resolution here that the members that will be representing the board would be, on the search committee would be, Vice Chair Bukowski and Director McFall. We do have a new board member, 2 new board members since we kind of started this. Is there interest by the board to modify that or to keep those 2 individuals?
Whatever the pleasure of the board is.
I think you guys will be great at it, but I think any of us could do it, so. Director Lundquist or Waldes, do you have any interest in throwing your name in the hat, or you're good?
No, I think pretty much any permutation we pick is gonna have 2 people on it, so.
Right.
I'd be fine.
Okay, and the 2 that are chosen, do you have time for this? Do you accept this position?
No, I accept it, absolutely.
Okay.
But I do have one clarification. I'd prefer 7, but no more than 9.
Yes,
Just for clarification.
stand corrected, sir.
I have a few comments on the other 2 items as
Yes.
well, just to point out. As Emily was helping me with all this as well, so it was, there's a lot of people involved in all of this. She pointed out the budget number, the 27.4 million that's located on page 3 of the brochure, and wanted to make sure that
I
was.
just want to make
okay.
sure the board's comfortable with that number, before we put it out into the public space as the budget number.
Is it accurate?
I don't know, is it?
I think it is. I think it's 27.5, I thought, but
All right, as long as that number looked good to you and you're comfortable with it, then I'm fine. I just wanted to confirm that.
Okay. Then moving on to the timeline for things that affect the board. The first item that will affect the entire board is when the search committee presents their proposed finalist list. And that will occur on the regular board meeting, August 26th. So that's nothing extra you all have to do. The next date that would be important for you all is September 15th. And that is when we'll do the station tours with the finalists. And then we'll do a meet and greet that evening. We're thinking 4 to 6 p.m. because that is a Tuesday. It is a city council meeting day, but we have the Pulliam booked for that time. And last process we did, the council members liked being able to go there and straight to the city council meeting. So as long as that's okay with our city council members and Director Waldes, gotta get your name flowing now.
We do have now a new process where we technically start at 5:30.
Okay.
So it would really only give us about an hour and 15 minutes tops to attend for any of our city members. Granted, we will have already been through most of the process, but I do think it'd be nice to hear what the public, their questions are, the way that, things go. So if it were possible to either, for my preference would be if we could maybe change the day, bump it up a little bit. I feel like if we bump it up, maybe people who work till 5 wouldn't be able to attend.
Right.
So I
So we
don't
do
know.
have, instead of, because it's Tuesday is the city tours and the meet and greet, and then Wednesday is the interviews. We have booked everything one day out as well, so we could do the city tour, the meet and greet on Wednesday, and the interviews on
I
Thursday.
have a problem with the dates. I may be on travel the 16th through the 18th of September.
Me too, I guess, huh?
Yes,
Yeah, okay. Is it possible to do that on that Monday? To do the,
We can.
yeah, you answered my
Interview
other
that-
question when I was looking at city council dates, but then I had the travel that was scheduled as well. So when?
maybe
can
the
you
meet
do that?
and greet on
Uh,
Monday evening?
We can do it the 14th.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to check with locations.
okay.
So Emily, how does this affect getting the resolution approved?
Well, so the resolution itself allows the board to make minor modifications to the timeline as long as it doesn't substantially affect the process. But even if it does substantially affect the process, we just come back and amend the resolution later. So it doesn't affect anything in the immediate term. So I would say you can go ahead and approve the resolution. Once we get the dates nailed down, if it's more than a couple day swing, we'll come back and amend the resolution.
Okay, so 14th, 15th would be the preference.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Yes, thank you. And if it's possible to book it a little later, just so that our community members who work, you know, kind of regular-ish hours.
Starting at 5.
Yeah, starting at 5 or maybe even starting at 6.
6.
It's not too late, yeah. Then people who work till 6 could still catch the majority of it. Would be my suggestion, but not official direction.
And then the next item after that, in order to discuss with the board, for the board to make a decision, we have a special meeting. I know we're trying not to do those, so, but we have it for Tuesday, the 22nd at 1:30.
Is that a third Tuesday? Yes, I think
I've
it is
looked at my
probably.
schedule.
Is it a fourth or
And Andrew, just to be fair, we received final confirmation of the dates today on that travel.
Oh,
so-
that's fine.
third Tuesday?
Thursday.
It's a 4th.
Sorry.
It's the 4th Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday should be
Oh,
fine.
that should be okay.
Yeah, that should be fine.
That sounds great. Okay,
No work or study sessions, right?
yeah.
There is a 5th Tuesday then next week.
Oh, that's clear. Nothing on that day, please. We have a real day off. Okay, so I think that's all great. Were there a couple other things there? Nope, got it. All right, chief, we got it.
Yes.
All right, directors, any questions, comments, anything? We will need a motion. No, we will, let me see what the motion is. Oops, I lost my page. Hang on a sec. We need a motion to adopt resolution R-187 establishing a fire chief search committee and hiring process.
So moved. Second that.
All right, Paul with the second, Nicole with the motion, sorry, Rurikowski. And any other discussion? All right, roll call, please. Yes.
Director DeCaprio.
Yes, ma'am.
Director Lundquist.
Yes.
Director McFall.
Yes.
Director Wall.
Yes.
Fantastic, motion passes. Next item, please, chief.
Madam Chair, before we move on, I'd just like to make just a brief update for the board on a couple of items within that process of the search for the fire chief and us preparing the search committee and getting ourselves ready. Last week, I participated in the fire chief selection process up at Estes Valley. And spent all day up there as part of the panel members and one of the panel members up there. And it was a good process. They did a really, really nice job. Learned a lot, lots of lessons learned. I've talked with my staff about many of those. And so I'm just bringing this forward to let you know that's a part of what we're doing here as well. It's just getting ourselves more oriented to it. So I went up there as a following a request from the interim chief in Estes Valley by the name of Dr. Warren Jones. And it is my expectation that Dr. Jones will be down here helping us in this process as well. So that's where we are.
Thank you, and
Thank
thank you for doing that. Trying to find yours. And then.
Call you Dr. Morosky, by the way.
Well, you could, but I don't think it's necessary.
Just checking.
Dr. Chief. Is that Dr. Chief Morosky? Which comes first, Chief Doctor? Chief Doctor? I think that's fair. All right, so then our next item is discussion of additional budget needs in 2026.
Yes, Madam Chair, this really is, the purpose of this is just to give the board really a heads up that we're seeing some increased costs and spending. We're close to about the halfway point in our year, but we're noticing some things that we wanted to bring to your attention that is out of the ordinary, or at least it's causing us some significant concern. Let me just give a couple of examples of that. And I've signed the bills that come in for approval. So some of this is my reaction to that. And one of those is our legal fees. We had significantly higher legal fees since January than what we were expecting. I think you all probably knew that as well. But that's just one of several here that I just wanted to highlight. The costs associated with hiring a new fire chief. wasn't expected in part of our budget for this year. So we know there's going to be some fairly significant costs associated with this. Some of those we know now with the selection of SGR, but there's going to be others. And then, of course, we're always concerned about this time of the year with how we're doing with our overtime budget. One of the things since January, we've had 10 people departing our organization. 7 of those have had a direct impact on operations and that overtime. So that's something we're keeping an eye on, just so you know. And another thing is the high probability of seeing some multiple alarm fires this year, particularly in the wildland urban interface area. We've already had 1 3-alarm wildland fire this year, and so too has PFA. Our expectation is that's going to increase. So those are just some of the examples of what we're concerned about and wanted to make the board aware of. What we will do is, as we progress into the year, if this continues to hold true and these concerns are there, which I believe they will be, we will come back to the board with a very detailed proposal and request for a budget increase for those unexpected costs.
Any more directors want to say anything, ask any questions? Yeah, Director Waldes.
Thank you, Chair. Well, thank you, Chief. And I think, as I said, at the beginning of the meeting, this is obviously our main focus area, is making sure that we have the LFRA funded adequately with enough contingency funds in there that we understand that we'll be able to handle, absent a tremendous emergency, but we'll be able to handle whatever contingencies come our way.
Yes.
In order to get to that, we need detailed financials. We need to be able to see where, these kinds of things are coming from. And I appreciate that, you just said, we're going to come back and we're going to look at the detail
Yes.
at another time. This is really to put a pin in it. So
Yes.
where what's coming down the pike. So I really appreciate that. And that's what I'm looking forward to, for us to, to address the concerns that I spoke about at the very beginning and really be able to make not just a 1-year plan, but a sustainable 3 to 5 year plan. We need that kind of information. So the sooner that can come back and we can fit that information into obviously the 2026 budget, then how that informs going forward, so we can avoid stuff like this. So we can get to a model where it's like, all right, we got a contingency, but we're prepared for that.
Yes.
And I know we share that goal.
Yes,
together.
absolutely.
So I appreciate how this is coming forward as kind of a flare.
Yes.
And then, but I really do, I'm hoping that when we get there, we'll have that detailed information that not only informs this, but how we can fix this kind of circumstance permanently, as much as humanly possible.
Points well made, directors. Thank you. Thank you.
Director Paul, did you have something?
No.
Oh.
No,
Oh, yes, Director Lopez.
Is there a estimated timeline as far as filling these vacancies?
Yeah. Director Olympus, that's a great point. And I'm glad you brought it up.
Estimate, not.
Yeah. We'll get into this a bit more in the chief's report. But when we look at filling vacancies for us, it's different than a lot of organizations, especially on the firefighting side. We can fill some of those vacancies internally with promotions up. For example, when Chief Ward left to take the fire chief's position in Fort Lupton, we promoted up through the ranks. Battalion Chief Jason Stark was promoted up to that position. And then, of course, I refer to it as sort of the dominoes falling backwards. Then a captain, Adam Bockel, who is back in our audience here, was promoted up to battalion chief. So on down the line, I won't go into the rest of the details. But the point is, we get to that place where then the firefighters are what need to be replaced. So right now, we have 12 recruits that we've hired starting in August. So when we have vacancies as it affects the firefighters, it takes us a minimum of at least, 20 weeks or more to get them on board. The academy itself is 15 weeks, and we bring them in at least a week ahead of time for a pre-academy. So it takes that amount of time to get those firefighters trained to come in and then fill those vacancies that are there. So in a practical sense for this one, with these 10 vacancies to fill those firefighter roles, we won't see them out of the academy until about the second week of December. That's where it'll make an impact for us.
Yeah, please.
And that's just the academy timing. So if we had, like, one thing that we had this year is someone retired in early January. We do not get the replacement for that FTE, not exactly that position, until almost a year later. So we're having to cover that with overtime for almost an entire year.
Right, that makes sense. Okay.
So it's a little different than it is in many of our other city departments, for example. But it's just the process that is used. The reason for that and the goal of that is when they come out of the academy and are assigned to a company, let's just say A shift engine 1, that young recruit is coming in their first day on engine 1 as part of that crew, and they're ready to hit the ground running, come what may. They're ready for it. And that's the outcome that we're looking for.
So you were thinking you may come back, bring this item back to us when-ish, potentially?
Yes, we definitely will bring this back to you, Madam Chair, with significantly more details.
In a couple months?
I would say, what do you think, Andrew? A couple of months, I think.
I await direction.
Okay, well, it will be approximately 2 months.
Okay.
How does that sound?
I like that. I like that. All right, that's good to know. Thank you. I don't know, no other discussion? We're good. We don't need a motion on this, so we'll just thank you for the presentation. We'll move on to the next item, interim chiefs, fire chiefs report. And actually, if I could pause there, that I was on the phone today with Director Bukowski, so I hope it's okay that I say this. And maybe I think you were actually going to say it. So
You go ahead.
But
I'm not sure
I
what you're
think we
gonna say.
should correct this. Yes, technically, you're the interim fire chief, but you are the fire chief. So I think that there's, what was it, how did you?
I just, you're our fire chief. If we could do away with the interim, please, because
Yeah.
you are our fire chief.
Thank you.
We understand the
Yeah,
length of time, chief, but you are him, you are it.
I appreciate that, Director Bukowski and Madam Chair. I would just like to remind the board before you make that step.
Oh, yes, no, this isn't a step to hire anyone yet.
No, I get that.
Okay.
No, I'm not- no,
I
listen,
didn't take a job off.
I'd be the first one to say, no, you gotta reconsider. My point being is that I'm very comfortable in the interim role. I'm very comfortable in the interim position. Because it makes a lot of sense to me for you to have me here as an interim, being 72 years old. I'm not so sure I'm comfortable with the fire chief's designation as a 72-year-old, 47-year firefighter.
Well, thank you for serving as interim. I think the sentiment that we shared was, that Paul shared with me, that I share as well, is that we don't see you as just a placeholder. We see you as someone who's truly doing the job.
Yeah, thank you. I
So
appreciate
I
that.
just wanted you to know that we appreciate that, and you don't have to say interim fire chief. If you just want to say fire chief, that's okay with us. At least a couple of us.
Thank you.
So,
I
yes,
think
thank you.
Fire chief, doctor.
Yes,
I'm
Dr.
not
Fire
letting
Chief.
that go, chief. I'm not letting that.
Where does the doctor go? Does it go before or after?
I don't know.
I think
I
we
had it all figured out a few minutes
Doctor.
ago.
Chief doctor, I think is way.
If you're
Well,
chief,
figure it out, but better
chief
get word.
doctor, then.
I think we've talked about this subject enough. If I may, Madam Chair, let's move on.
We're embarrassing you. I know.
Yeah, that's,
Last item you have here, chief, if you would.
thankfully, this is the last item on the agenda here for me. The fire chief's report. Wanted to bring you up to date on just a few things here. I'll try to be as brief as possible. We're moving along very well with our station visits with the firefighters and with the staff. That's kind of coming on the heels of this. Right now, we finished 19 out of 21 stations that we visited and companies. I was hoping to say 20 out of 21, but I had station 10 on A shift scheduled 2 times, and both times they've been called out for working fires. So, we're still at 19 out of 21. Christie's done a marvelous job of working with the staff and getting CSD, our admin staff, the battalion chiefs, and training people, our training division on the calendar. So right now, the way it looks, we should be wrapping all of these up by the middle of July. And my goal is to have the report back to you all and available for our department with what we have learned and identification of high priority items to focus in on and a plan moving forward, but for the future by the first week in August. So that's where we are as an update for that.
Thank you.
Just so you know, when we go out, it's not just spending coffee time and lemon muffins. It's not that, although we do have that. We sit and cover 5 questions with each group that we're with, and these sessions are taken between 2.5 and 3.5 hours. But it's worth the time. It's the highlight of my day many times. So just an update on that.
Thank you.
On the budget side of things, I don't have a lot to report on this, except for that we have submitted our budget information over to the city, to Brian's office in finance. And we're waiting to have the discussion back on that at the appropriate time. That's just a quick update on that. Brian, is there anything else that you'd like to add for that at all?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, we did receive that and appreciate it. And, what we received at, in the city's finance office was very much what we saw here. It was pretty much that base budget with a little over 7 million, basically one decision package area.
Yes.
So it's pretty much that boilerplate thing we saw here. So it kind of leaves us with that same conversation, which is okay. That's where we were. We're in the same spot. So there were no surprises there. Appreciate you giving it over. And yeah, as far as our conversation moving forward, I think it'll help. But yeah, we've had bigger conversations to have about the whole process itself and things like that. But aside from that, nothing further.
Yes. Thank you, Director. Appreciate that. I think it's just one of those things that it's an interesting time for us as a department and as a LFRA family, and I'm including all of you all in that. We're in a state of flux in the organization right now. Even the board today establishing a new director here, Director Waldes. The rural district just Director Bukowski and his team just established a new board member there last week. So we are in a state of flux here, and along with that, we're trying to figure out a new normal here. One of those is going to be with the collective bargaining agreement. And we've been working very closely with our local union and the president, Craig Willard, Local 3566. We've been in contact with Poudre Fire and talking to them about their negotiations and how they work. My hope is we got a word from Chief Bergston at PFA, an invite for our president, Local 3566, Craig Willard, and myself to go to Fort Collins and meet with the chief and their union president to work through some of these issues and talk about some things. So we're not sitting still on this. It's just a time that we're in this state of flux, and we gotta be fairly fluid and on our toes and ready for those opportunities when they come. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we got a long ways to go. I've got about 3 months plus with you. We got a long ways to go, and we got a lot of work to do. So I'm excited about it. I really am. I'm jazzed about where we are and where we're headed.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief.
As far as a staffing update is concerned, I did touch on some of these 12 recruits have been secured for us. We were with the board of directors for the Front Range Fire Consortium. I think that academy is going to be somewhere between 23 and 25 recruits. It's going to be an LFRA dominated academy. A lot of the training will be here. Again, it's an exciting time when you see that kind of new blood coming into the organization. It's an exciting time, and And we're jazzed about what that's gonna be, and plus the promotion side of things. It's been great to be able to have our field promotion ceremonies and pinning badges on new people that are stepping up. You hear this all the time in athletics, next person up, that sort of thing. That's what's happening here. And we're fortunate. We have great people here. Over the years, that's one of the consistencies between the fire chiefs that you've had over the years here. We continue to hire great people here. And that helps us become an organization that's gone from good to great and developing that over the long haul or enduring greatness. And that's what we intend to do. Fire chief selection process is in there as part of my update. We pretty well covered that in that agenda item. So the very last thing that I'd like to talk about, Madam Chair, is the update with the strategic plan. You may remember last month you gave us the approval to move forward with a continuance of the existing strategic plan that looks like this. This is the 2023 to 2027 strategic plan. It's a good plan. What we need to do moving forward, however, though, is to create another extension of that plan. And our goal here is to create that as a working document. A working document with some flexibility in it. Because my concern for the next 2.5 years, this extension will last through the rest of 2026, 27, and 28. What that will do is allow us the opportunity to address some of the needs that we couldn't get done in this plan here. It will also give us an opportunity to give the new incoming fire chief an opportunity to come in without the pressure of having to create a plan in 2027. That chief will have about 1.5 years to get their feet on the ground, then formulate their team in 2028 and get the new plan going for 2029. My concern and total transparency here, Director Waldes and I had a meeting on Monday and he talked briefly with me about some of the things that could happen in the future with our finances. I think the best way to describe it is uncertainty. And so we want to build a plan that's built with that thought in mind. There are things in here we're going to do our best to address, but we want the plan to be a working plan. We want the plan to be well understood, easily understood. The plan that I'm holding right here was a compendium that we wrote in 2018. The plan that I'm going to show you just real briefly here covers 2018 to 2026. It's on one page. It's a plan on a page. All of the large capital are included in here. The large O&M expenses are in here. They're color coded by priorities, high priority, intermediate priorities, other priorities. There's also dates affixed to this. Funding sources are identified in here. This is what we're going to try to shift over into this working document that we can build, I think, within the next 3 months. Excellent. So this is where we're coming. I want you also to know that I've asked Battalion Chief Robert Carmesino to assist me on this, and I've asked my staff to help with the lion's share of this work. There will be areas that we're going to have to seek some outside help and some expertise. Director Waldes, I will be leaning on you quite a bit to help us with this and other areas. We have some issues with the airport. We're going to have to get some expertise and some understanding about exactly what's going on out there and what our responsibilities are for fire protection. There are other areas here that we will address, but we have to do this in sort of a lightning fast, light. All I can think of is like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That's what we're going to be doing here.
I haven't heard that one for a while, Chief.
So we're not going to have time to call community meetings and all this jazz. This is going to be a quick work, but it'll be an effective and efficient work. That's what I commit to you.
I think Director Waldes, you had a question or comment.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say, did have that discussion with Chief Morawski a couple days ago. And I really feel like, on this side of the table, all the things we said about chief really being a blessing be here. It's all true. I mean, this kind of work, like you said, can set up the next chief for success.
Yes.
Set up this whole organization for success. That's what's happening on that side of the table. I know on this side of the table, we're having good conversations as the city and as the rural. I had another meeting with Ben, man's last name escapes me at the moment, your financial, your financial.
What is it?
Klaus?
consultant.
Klaus.
Archer.
No, Archer,
Archer, Tom, yeah.
very quickly, and I feel like
One or both.
we can, on this side of the table, support that effort by making clearer what's available
Yes,
for resources.
yes,
Because that can inform that plan, and as we talked about, that plan will be anchored around firefighter compensation.
yes,
And making sure that is our number one priority, that
Yes.
is as secure as it can be. And then a great shorter term plan, I find once plans get past 3 years, it's gonna have to change anyway. So I love that time frame. I think if we can do the work on this side of the table as partners and come up with a sustainable, predictable funding model. Okay, I'll blurt it out. I feel like we do it backwards. Okay, the LFRA comes to the parents and says, here's what I need. How are you guys gonna divvy it up? And it perverts the process. It makes it backwards. I really feel like if we come up with a sustainable model for the rural, sustainable model for the city, and then say, okay, partner, here's what we've got. Show us how we can work with it. That will put us on this path to success and stability, better conversations, and start addressing the real issues, which are, the conditions outside of this room. And really have those conversations more than, look, since I've been here 4.5 years, it's just been constant swirling around the finances.
yes.
We can't solve all the problems, but we can straighten that narrative out. With that good work and the work that I know we can do on this side, I know we're all committed to it,
Yes,
so very excited for it.
thank you,
for
Director.
that.
Appreciate that.
That's why we brought him on, actually, so we don't have to say anything, then Brian can just.
I'm sorry.
No, it's beautiful, actually, Brian, thank you. And I'm also very excited about this. This is really important. That's one of the things I think that we've had a difficulty with, at least as this board, but I think when we look back, even in the last couple of years, having that like really solid direction so everyone can row together. I'm really looking forward to that. And I appreciate that because Director Waldes and I had this conversation and I've had it really, I know the mayor and I have had this as well, but how important a bench is. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're building like the bench, in a sense here, not just with individuals, but really with how we're moving and where we're going,
Yes.
and how we get there. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen a one-page strategic plan. I started on council under City Manager Steve Adams. And not only was our strategic plan like probably this thick, it also was like on the big paper, you know what I mean? And you could like fold it out and it was extremely detailed. And I'm not saying that it wasn't effective because it's a great plan. This totally like blows my mind. You could have all of that on one piece of paper. So I cannot wait to see how we get there.
No, and Madam Chair, I can't take any credit for this. This is a creation of our former administrative director, Renee Wheeler,
Wow.
who used to be the assistant city manager in the city of Loveland before she came to work for us.
We'll have to thank her because I think that's
Reminding us
very
that that's
inspirational. What's that?
He keeps reminding us that that's steel.
The steel.
I'm sure that's all that I have,
Okay.
except for to hand it off to my more than capable assistant chiefs.
Before you do, I noticed on here, there's something that's called 4th of July funding.
Yes,
Did you want to touch on that?
I would, but I'm gonna defer to Assistant Chief Smith, because I think he knows more about this than I do.
Okay, all right.
Really, it's just more, it kind of goes back to one agenda item of the funding piece. It was not part of our budget for 2026, and we do need that overstaffing that we're trying to produce. Jason can probably speak to the staffing that they're coming up with. The initial projections, I think, was 20,000 people, and then we recently heard from Lieutenant Pride over at LPD, they're expecting 40. So we're pretty nervous about what Friday and Saturday are gonna look like organizationally, but it's just more of the message of, it wasn't a projected impact for our overtime.
Right, if I could, I might ask our acting city manager, director, Brian. When we decided, when our former or current city manager, I don't know, when Jim said, hey, let's do the fireworks. Did we not talk to LFRA?
No, they did. We even gave numbers back in like
Oh,
August by the
But
time.
they're just
this, when
way
the decision
smaller.
was made and when our budget was set, but those didn't
There's an overlap, okay,
correspond. with each
or
other,
not, yeah, okay,
Align with each other.
okay. So you'll be able to give us real-time numbers then, I guess, since it's just down the road.
Yeah,
And
so, it- let me explain a little bit of the background why the Fourth of July is such a concern for us. In that, if there's any time in the, if there's any day, one day in the entire year that we're gonna have a fire, it's on the Fourth of July, it's almost historically almost guaranteed. And normally, in any other day, we have the redundancy of our neighbors for help. However, they are also struggling with the same thing, and we end up having fires or multiple fires that is taking us to the very brink of what we can handle. And we have no redundancy, no help that we can call in because they're dealing. So our plan, and we've varied through the years on how robust that plan is. I think going into the 4th of July this year, giving its 250th anniversary, we've got 40,000 people expected. Probably a fair amount of that is homegrown shows that are not gonna be the official show that we put together, even though there's enforcement that PD's working on, and we've been working with the courts on that. We'd like to, we really need somewhere. I mean, I can give you the exact numbers. Christie could give you the exact numbers. Ideally, $12,000 would staff us up that day to the level that we could handle basically 2 structure fires at one time without calling for assistance. At minimum, about 60, what was it, 6,700?
It's right in there, 65 to 60.
And that'll help us with a lot of the brush fire type problems, but we're gonna be hurting if we get into 2 structure fires.
And Chief Stark, is that 12 plus 6 or is it 12 total approximately?
Just 12 total would be ideal.
Okay, that includes the 6 then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That would give us enough resources on the street that we could handle worst case, not worst case scenario, but probable worst case scenario of 2 structure fires at one time with enough staffing to handle each one of them. Understanding that's a big number to. The
12,000.
brush resources are really important to us as well.
$12,000, you said?
Yeah.
So would you need for the board to make an appropriation for that prior to bringing staff on, or are you thinking you'll staff up and then we'll figure it out?
Well, it'll all hit the overtime budget. If we were to staff up to the level that we want, it's gonna show up in the overtime budget. So whether you wouldn't want to do it on the front end or recognize that it's gonna come on the back end. If we were to go forth with the ideal plan to be able to manage two incidents completely, it's a $12,000 bill.
So the board could make a motion for an appropriation, I would imagine. We should probably talk to our finance manager and just be sure. Do we have any money? Do we have an unassigned fund balance, don't we, that has a little bit in it?
Our unassigned fund balance is small, but this is not that big of it.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
We probably could. I don't know. I think we should get legal input because I don't know if we would have had to publish a public hearing notice.
No, so the board only has to do a formal budget amendment if your total expenditures, so not individual line item, but at the fund level, if your fund expenditures exceed what you budgeted. But that budget amendment can be done at any time, up until the audit is approved in the following year. So if you do end up exceeding your fund balance budget, we can come back in August or September, October and make that correction. So it's not something that has to be done today.
Okay. Yes,
If I could, please. So can we put that down as a specific line item? So when we go, we'll go, what was that for? It'll say 4th of July and we'll know exactly. Is that appropriate to do, to ask for it?
I think Director Bukowski, that's exactly what we were hoping to come back with in a couple of months.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I like this
but I
running.
want to be clear, you're talking about that would be a designated appropriation. Being able to track, in this case, we probably can, because I believe we have a 4th of July project code in the payroll system.
So we can.
Doing that, that is difficult to do because the payroll system has project codes, so we can't assign another one to that same thing. So in this instance, for 4th of July, we can do that because we can have but in other cases, it gets very.
Because
tricky
you already
to
have
do
the
that.
code for it, so we can do it. Cool,
Yeah,
thank you.
'cause
I just,
yeah,
it helps
yeah.
us going forward. Sure. Thank you.
I think it's important to also say that we've taken steps over the years, and I can't remember the year it started, but we don't allow anybody to take 4th of July off. Can't use a vacation day. You can call it sick. That's about it, though. Or you can trade the day with someone else, but we've taken steps. We even take advantage of our wildfire module, and we'll flex their day and have them work that day, so we have that extra status. But it's hard in this particular case this year, because this particular shift is the one that's hurting the most. And they don't have the staffing because they have long-term injuries.
Thank you, thank you. In that case, yes.
I just quickly, thank you, Chair. And I just want to speak to the concept we were talking about the other day and how it would apply to even conversations like this. Where instead of saying, hey, look, we're gonna have this thing coming up now, we kind of, the city kind of changed its approach to the July 4th celebration because of the, I don't know, it's not the sesquicentennial, well, the 250th, whatever it is. So we decided to kind of do it on a one-off basis, and now we have to have this conversation, right? The LFRA has to come to the board and say, okay, well, if we're gonna do that, then we're gonna need to consider either appropriation or we're gonna keep an eye on it. If we reverse this process, right, then you have what you have, and you say, okay, I've got this fund balance, or I know what my funding model is, and I'll fit it in at the beginning. So, great conversation, I thought it was bad or anything, but I really think that those kinds of things can be smoothed out if we reverse how we talk to us. And I'll pray for snow, would that help?
A snow dance. So if we, did you have a question or anything? Okay. So I wrote all the notes down, so I'll just make a motion. I move to appropriate $12,000 from our unassigned fund balance to the 4th of July project fund for coverage of the 4th of July incident mitigation staffing.
Second that.
Okay. Any questions, thoughts? No? Okay.
I thought we didn't have to do this right now.
Well, we don't have to if we want to do it on the back end, but we can do it now if we want to do it on the front end. And back end is overtime and front end is not.
Fair
So
enough.
I like front
Well,
end.
it's overtime no matter what.
Yeah, it's over.
Well, okay, well, so now it's not on the back end. So that's the only difference.
Madam Chair, we appreciate
Well,
your gesture on this too,
Thank
just so you know. Thank you.
thank you. Well, thank you for letting us know about it and keeping us in the loop and giving us a chance to get ahead of it at least, so we kind of have clear heads. So, can we do a roll call?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Director Sampson,
Yes.
Director McCaskey,
Yes, ma'am.
Director Youngquist,
Yes.
Director McCall,
Yes.
Director Walden.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, but we still have additional things to cover on item 8. Thank you for going through that. I think. Assistant Chief
Next one, I
Smith,
think,
you're up.
is. This is our total compensation. I don't know if your wife wants to jump this slide or chief. I can fix that.
Go ahead. I don't have anything in my notes.
That was a joke.
No, you can. I've been talking way too much today.
I'll take it.
Okay, you take it.
Together. There's been a lot of questions regarding compensation, and last board meeting, it was asked about total compensation. So we put this item together, and we are looking at a 5-year firefighter. Because when we look at our compensation plan, our set plan for firefighters, it's all based on that top tier of firefighter. So that's our 100% pay. And then below that is 90% of that, 80% of that, above that. An engineer would be 111% of that. So everything's based on that top one. So if you take a peek at that, we are at the bottom for each. We're also at the bottom for the total compensation. And I listed everything below that we included in that. The annual salary, about half of our departments provide longevity pay. Half of them do a lump sum holiday pay at the beginning of every year. And some of them give PTO for holiday time. I looked at health insurance, the family most popular plan for each organization, along with their dental and vision. And then retirement, some departments pay into a retiree health savings plan for their employees. And then FPPA, death and disability, vacation, sick, holiday, PTO. Those were the main ones. There's always more that we can add in there, but those seem to be the standard ones that most of the departments provide. Where we're really falling behind is that FPPA, death and disability. That adds a huge chunk to it. And then our actual annual point, and then our longevity, that adds to some of our department's base pay. Which then adds on top of their retirement, because if they get that lump sum, that's considered their base pay, and so their retirement percentage is based on that. We give PTO, so retirement's not based off of that. So that's where we're at. We're still at the bottom.
And I think, may here, and you're just, and Director Bukowski, I'm gonna come back to you here in just a minute, because I know you know some things about this as well. One of the difficult ones for me as the fire chief is that FPPA, death and disability. I think on the average, and Director, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you did some research on this, that costs our firefighters between $4,000 and $5,000 a year. We're the only department in the region and in our comparables here that require their people to pay for that. One department, Longmont, pays for half of theirs.
They pay 100%.
All the other departments pay 100% of that. And so this is one that's been really tough for me to look at and see, why can't we deal with this? So when we talk total compensation, this is what we're looking at here, and that's a big one in that comparison.
Director Bukowski,
Yes,
yes, sorry.
No, what I was gonna say, if you add and if there's any firefighters in the room that can help me, it's roughly $5,000, is that true? So roughly $5,000, if you add that 5 to the 109, you're in the 50th percentile immediately, right? Or maybe a little better. So, I mean, it's important stuff. I'm sorry to interrupt.
You had just asked about how we got here and what other departments their averages were over years. In 2025, other departments, they gave large increases that year. A lot of them, their average was close to 7%.
And what did we give? Do you remember?
In 2025 for our firefighters, 4.6.
Okay, that's fine. And Chief, and everybody else in the room, I think funding, if we can afford it, funding that is extremely important to this. I mean,
Thank you, sir.
not only for parity, but because it's the right thing.
Thank you, sir.
I think the rest of these were kind of crucial. Busy training.
Before you do.
Yes.
If you don't mind. So I just wanted a little clarity on that one. So first of all, I would imagine that the reason we're not gonna take any kind of action on this right now is because we have a CBA coming. This will be part of
Yes.
that conversation.
Yes.
One of the things that I'm gonna be bringing up here that, Director Waldes and I had discussed, and actually the whole board is familiar with, is the compilation and compensation analysis, that we can really do deep dives on, your numbers, and then not do a deep dive on your number, but take your numbers and then add into that, everything else that we have questions about, like, what are the raises like? Like, what are the other, and really break all of that out so we can see all the numbers. And then what's our overtime like too? Like, how is that impacting our ability to do different things we need to do for compensation? So that's coming. I understand that you were saying there's some organizations that gave significant raises, but a 5% raise is a pretty significant raise. I just wonder, has the conversation around the FPPA D&D come up before at the board meetings? Like, was that something that has been punted from past boards? Yes.
Historically, if I might answer that,
Yeah.
and maybe Billy can answer it too. It's been discussed, but we never really dug down. And until I found out what it cost our firefighters, it was, okay, wow, that's a lot of money coming out
I
here.
agree, it's been mentioned.
It's been mentioned, but it has been pushed. So the fact that you're pushing it, Chief, is wonderful. And the fact that
Yeah.
everybody's hearing it is important. And now let's do something about it. I'm just one person on the board and we got a lot of stuff to solve, but yeah, historically, it had been just talked about.
Right, okay, yeah. And I appreciate that you did the 5-year firefighter instead of doing like the top step, because we only have 4 steps for firefighter. And other organizations may have 2, they may have 6, so it's hard to compare like top. It's better to do 10 years, so I think that was really good, I like that. And then, yeah, moving forward, we'll just, I guess, look into it more, and as as Director Waldes said earlier too, this is number one for us, having this conversation and arriving at somewhere that's much closer to 50th, if not better than. So, and also with the FPPA D&D. So thank you for all that. I just wanted to say that really briefly. And my question, what really my question was how, but we've kind of touched on that. And I mean, we gave raises last year, so I don't know how we could have slid so far behind in such a quick amount of time, but I guess instead of looking in the rearview mirror, we'll look out the windshield. So,
Madam Chair,
Yes.
excuse me, I have one more question for you. Is it possible, not trying to be a pain, but to have two more columns on there? Are these organizations, authorities, districts, city, municipalities? That kind of helps, just so you kind of see that. And then the population of those cities. It kind of brings it to like, comparing, I don't know what the population of Boulder is, gentlemen, help me, ladies, help me. It's what, 180,000, I'm guessing. I don't even know. Do you have that?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Check and see if they're on the
But you
list
get my
here.
point. It just kind of helps because, I mean, we don't have a comparison there with Berthoud or Front Range. Well, they're
Right.
considerably smaller communities than what we have. But nevertheless, it kind of helps us because they're our neighbors. I don't know where they fall in. Maybe you have that. I don't know.
Well, and I think that's something else that may come up throughout the CBA process,
Perfect.
is who exactly we
Thank you.
compare to.
That would be
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you very much.
Because we compare to a lot right now.
Right.
yeah, it's a pretty
Did you-
broad range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Director, Chief Smith did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Boulder's 110,000,
Okay.
but they're only 28 square miles.
Okay.
Their budget. I'll try another question. Yeah, their budget's 31.5.
Boulder's 31.5. Really? Wow.
Their city, their municipal.
Oh, okay.
Is there another one?
No, just in general, it
Okay.
just kind of helps me,
I think so.
whether municipality versus authority, because we're trying to balance some
Yes.
pretty crazy things. It just helps me look at it. I'm getting, maybe everybody else doesn't need it, but it just helps me. If you have the data. And
Is that
again, I don't
something
want
the
you to go.
board wants in a board meeting?
Yes,
or-
thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want it in a board meeting?
Well,
Yeah.
or just a handout or an email.
Yeah, I mean,
something like
don't go
that.
through the crazy
Add
work.
on to this. That's
Yeah.
what we
Just
do.
get
Yeah,
the
that'd
chief's
be
report.
Whatever's easiest. Thank you.
That'd be great.
Thanks, chiefs.
Madam Chair, thank you for allowing us to have this kind of conversation because it really helps us, helps highlight the issue. And Director Bukowski, thank you for your individual research on this and caring enough about our people to bring this forward. So I appreciate it.
You do. Thank you very much. All right. I think our assistant chiefs still have a few things to give us an update. And I would like to draw our attention to the time, not to rush either of you. Everyone else got ample time and I'm like, okay, guys, but we do have a couple more items still and we have an executive session. And I like to try and have our meetings done in an hour and a half. So obviously we're not gonna get there, but maybe we can aim for. another 30 minutes. Oh, okay. Okay, and our other attorney will be in our executive session with us. It's only available till 4, so we will need to get this. But take your time.
We can-
You've got it.
We could fly through the rest of it real quick. So last 30 days has been pretty busy, mixture between aircraft rescue firefighter training, a lot of driver operator with the vehicle, EMS skills. We require our firefighters and engineers to come in and do emergency vehicle operations every year. Started that a couple of years ago. Some live fire items that we did, the picture, the bigger one in the back is our fire behavior box, or T cells, what we call it. So we just refresh those skills. We try to do that every year. Don't remember the timing. A lot of technical rescue things that happen. We actually did a Swiftwater Academy. 2 students from Loveland, Berthoud, and Windsor. Sorry, I had to think about that. So 6 in the academy, and then our annual refresher happened at the same time. And then Wellington at the beginning of the slide was a thank you letter. They came down and used our building. We helped them with it.
Cool.
Chief, Mayor,
Yes.
what kind of condition is the RFIN? I remember Lieutenant Gonzalez was going around a corner and a wheel fell off.
That's the old one.
Oh, so, okay, all right, good.
That one you got some.
We're advertising our wheels falling off and 0% pay. Wow. Wow, Paul.
Well, it's already, the new one is already 11 years old.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so they're on target to get another FAA funded crash truck, I think in 2029. Is what the hope is, but they gotta do the other things like the tower first.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Thanks, Chief.
Tomorrow, we start the final inspection for the heavy rescue. Hopefully that will be all checked off by Friday and we'll take delivery soon after. The engine sometime next week, final inspection on that, so we should see those 2 rigs in service here pretty soon. Marcus is one of our new plans reviewers, and we started back on the 26th of May, I think, if I have my notes right. He's a long time to the area, like 20 years, but we stole him from PFA.
Yes.
So I can note that. Yeah, 26 is when he started with us. Bunch of community outreach, education stuff. I'll just kind of go through the pictures. HOA at Mariana Butte. Engine 45 was at KinderCare. Engine 47 was at Namak Elementary. 41 was at a preschool. I didn't get the name, sorry. And then Old Navy had a first responder day, so we had a booth out there and 41 stopped by. And the other one that some of you participated in, June 1st, was the CPR proclamation for CPR and AED Awareness Day. We had a fairly large evacuation drill with the Pinewood Lakes community, like 48 different residents, and about 12 others from around the community, like vendors. Some of our response partners helped with that drill. They actually did an evacuation down to our training center, and they got some education on top of it, so that was very successful. And then our recent community night out from last week. And then that's on Jason.
All right, operational, you have any questions, Chief Smith?
That was beautiful. Thank you.
All right, I'll try and get through this quickly. I have one area that I want to have some interaction with, but incident response, that's where we laid out for the month of May, 1,001 total calls. That's the breakout percentage wise. Pretty straightforward. It's in your packets. If you have any questions, right? Although very busy, we still only had one major structure fire during the last month, and that was this barn. It was actually in Berthoud Fire Districts, but because of the way we operate with Berthoud, as one organization at the street level, we played a significant role in this fire. About a 40 by 100 barn / shop, multiple vehicles, tractors, that kind of stuff. I was well involved on arrival. We weren't able to save anything. There was fire throughout the entire building. It was more just keeping it from burning the pastures and getting it extinguished, but that took a little bit of time. We went through, our chief referred to our field promotions. We'll have to at a later date set a formal promotion, but to fill my spot, Battalion Chief Van Buckle is back in the crowd. On the upper left is Matt Hensman. He went from lieutenant to captain. In the middle, on top row is Derek Gard. He went from engineer to lieutenant. And we had 2 lieutenant promotions, Jake Doyle and Joe Willis, which is the far upper right and the far left. And then obviously Adam is the bottom middle. A little bit of work, modules hard at work. They're up on Rainbow Lane, above if you turn at the Windjammer, that's Rainbow Lane up by Carter Lake. Go back there's a private gate, goes back to a bunch of properties. That lane actually goes all the way to the south side of Carter Lake. They're doing about the top third of that. They're doing some work. You can see them doing there, working with the chippers. They're doing a lot. I have a before and after shot that just came to me today, but essentially if you look at the middle photo in the bottom, that's the forest prior to mitigation, and the upper one to the left shows the thinning that has occurred, and that's really the goal of thinning and running.
Chief Stark and Chief Smith, is this the contract, lack of a better term, that we discussed 3 months ago?
Grant, one of the grant.
Okay, thank you.
How long did that take to finish?
They've been, well, it's a long section. That's just obviously a snapshot of a small part, but they've been working. They're maybe a quarter mile down the stretch, and they've been working for basically 2 solid months. So it's a lot of work. They're going 50 feet or 50 yards off the road, both directions. So they're working hard. I went up and had lunch with them the other day. I tell you what, if you ever want to go have lunch with them, take some otter pops along, because you'll be their hero when you pull out the otter pops. They're easily pleased, but working hard. Yeah.
That's it.
The one other thing I wanted to talk to everyone about is, I come into this position and I think I kind of bring a little bit of unique perspective. This year's been a rough year for organization, like everybody would agree to that. And I don't want to look backwards, I want to look forward. But one of the things that kind of hurts my heart is that we have this chasm between the authority and the board. And I believe you are the authority. Although your roles are very vastly different, you are the same as my role. It's my understanding in conversation with the chief that you guys have had interest in trying to integrate a little bit. And so that's what I want to ask you. If you want us to put together some way to give you guys time to spend with the crews, either completely social or social with a little bit educational, what that plan would look like, I would be more than happy to put something together and present it to you guys as an opportunity for you guys to just break bread with the crews and try and close this chasm between us a little bit.
Thanks, Chief.
I'd love for those to occur with 2 board members at a time.
Yeah, I'm fully aware. Of course, fully aware of that.
The attorney came up with.
Always looking at that.
I really would, if you have ideas, please now or later, tell me what they would be, but I have ideas in my mind on how that would look. And I did take into consideration number of board members, and you probably, because of that, will not all get the same experience, but an experience the same. Does that make sense?
It does, Jason.
And really, it's really up to you guys. If you want it to be a completely social, like dinner with the crews, or bring your families and have dinner with the crews, like we can facilitate that. If you want to crossbreed that with a little bit of education, we can take part of that time and share some small piece of the organization and then break bread. I think the breaking bread is the most important. That's kind of some direction I'd like from you, if that's of interest to you, and I can start to facilitate, put together a plan that you guys could look at and see if you wanted to participate in it. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Assistant Chief Stark. Welcome to your new position.
Oh,
You're doing a
thanks.
great job. And this is a conversation the chief and I've had. Many of us board members have shared in this conversation, so I'll let them speak to this as well. But I love the thought, the idea of it. I love doing the one-on-one or the 2-on stations, I guess, not one-on-ones. And having an opportunity to do coffee, between the shift changes, or I really like dinner and inviting our families. I think that's beautiful, and inviting theirs, or however we want to work that. We've talked about possibly having some sort of a picnic or something where everyone can attend and it's purely social, so we don't discuss business, so everyone can go. But we've also, kind of broached the idea of and I think it's so ironic that you call it this, Chief, and I think we should stick with it. Fireside chats. Somewhere that the board can kind of, provide some really candid conversation with our whole community, but in particular our LFRA family, because we feel like we're part of the family too. And this is something I was going to bring up later on, and now you're going to make me ruin my time limit, so thank you. But I attended a couple of retirement, parties. Mayor McFall, Director McFall and I did together when we had the availability, but they're very much, we really truly felt, and I'll just be frank, like outcasts, almost like pariahs. Part of that is because we're new. And so there's that whole, usually you just go up and say, hi, I'm Andrea, and hey, I'm, so-and-so, and nice to meet you. But then there was a vote of no confidence. And then there was the, fire chief that resigned. And then there was, social media. And then there was, it's been a lot of layers that have made it should I go introduce myself, or do they know who I am, or are they going to receive me? And so when we attend these events, there is that kind of tension. I would love to do what I can, and I think I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but I've understood from board members that I spoke to, they want to do what they can too, to smooth the waters, to take accountability where we need to take accountability, to have the conversations, to clear the air, and to get to know our family members. So yes, thank you for bringing it up. I'd love to hear what your ideas are. I don't know if we need to wait for another meeting, or if we can just send it out as an email, but not reply all. So I don't know how we
bring it to the next
meeting,
Yeah, bring it
perhaps.
to the next meeting for discussion.
Okay, yeah, if that's all right, maybe we can find a little something to do in that month in between. Yes, and Director Waldes, well, but really quickly, if that sounds all right with you, perhaps, or
Yeah,
I can sit down
I'm
with you.
more
and
than
discuss
willing to
it.
take the lead and put together some options for you guys.
That'd be
I really, I appreciate everything you said and just wanted some direction as to how educational versus how social you want it to be.
Yes.
That's really the big tipping point. And really, just from my knowledge, is like, you talked about coffee and shift change, that's 7:30 in the morning. Is that something that's more doable for you than evening at whatever?
For some of us it is, for
Yeah.
others, not so good.
If you say 7, then 7:30 is great for me. I'll
I
be
will
there.
tell you from my perspective, an evening event would be probably more impactful, not only for our people, but for you guys, because the day's winding down, they aren't worried about getting trucks checked and getting the day
Makes
going.
sense.
Yeah.
So they can relax and really have that intimate conversation with all of you, given the opportunity, so.
And I love the idea of doing an educational piece to that. So I'll let each of our board members kind of speak to this, but I think starting out with full education, who we are, what we do here, why it matters, how it impacts the rest of the organization, how it impacts the board, the community, or whatever you suggest. These are the apparatus we have here, whatever, right? And then sit down and have dinner. I love it. Or whatever we have, cookies, brownies, whatever.
And I'm up for anything. I want you guys to drive a fire truck, run an aerial truck.
That sounds like fun.
Right,
Well, we
the
had talked
aircraft,
about
like-
doing ride-alongs, so,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, there's a lot of options. So I
great.
want you and the crews to be together
I love
and
that.
share an experience.
Well, before I go to our board, this is my last comment, because I was gonna bring it up later, but I might as well bring it up now. We are working at the city on finding a way to send an email to the board. And you already worked on it. Oh, excellent. The city didn't need to do that. So,
I got you.
thank you, perfect. So then anyone and everyone can communicate with the board. The board can, communicate back. We have less of a barrier, which you have to find our personal email address. Like, I've never called or emailed Director Lundquist. I don't have his information. I do today. I didn't ask Paul for it earlier, but kind of that sort of thing. Like, I could have just sent out an email to the board. Hey, Bill, send me your number. So that sort of a thing, hopefully we'll break down some barriers too, so that we can be more reachable and more responsive and transparent. So, yeah, thank you. I love it. Okay, I think Director Waldes had some.
We can start with that.
Okay, Director Mikowski, did you want to respond to this?
I think it's a great idea, Chief, and I'll just email you or text you or call you, Jason, if I could, with my ideas, but I've got some things that absolutely might run by.
Great.
I'm good as well. I like the personal time and I also like the educational aspect of it.
Director Lundquist.
I think it's a great idea. I'm probably one person who's been hanging out at fire stations for a long time, but I'd still jump at the opportunity.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, really appreciate the idea, of course. I think it can go a long way towards increasing understanding. It can only help, and I think maybe I'll speak for myself, but please let the firefighters inform us. What's the best time for them? Like,
Yeah.
what's the most best time when, like you said, they're not stressed about something we might not be thinking about, so that they can have, because we'll be there to learn from them as much as them from us. And the only other thing was, and just the only thing I would ask for is drunk driving, absolutely. That would be great. Okay.
Perfect, thank you. And one other thing, I was supposed to send the email along to the board and I
You're
haven't done
supposed
so
to be
yet.
done, Madam Chair.
I know, well, there's
So
a
mention that.
pancake breakfast.
Yes.
Yes, so I don't know if you want to maybe just cover that briefly, because I have not sent the information on to the rest of the board.
I received an email.
Christie
Guys,
sent it out.
I received an
should have all
email.
gotten a
Yep.
calendar invite
Yep.
for the 4th of July.
Thank you. I got one email. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
You just
Sorry
need
about
to make sure that you RSVP to the person.
June 30th.
Invitation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, yes.
I do have
Oh,
a
yes.
question, and 30 words or less, okay? Which is really hard for you, I know, Chief, but
It is.
you and I, a couple, 2 to 3 months ago, we talked about, and I don't remember the term you used, and it's when you have a fire apparatus and you only replace part of it. There was a new term you used, a slider or
A glider.
a glider. Okay, close.
That was close. Slider's good.
Close but no cigar. And is that still a thing, Chief?
I don't know how many, I think the industry has changed a certain amount, Director Bukowski, because of COVID. I don't know if there's been any education of the board on this, but when COVID happened, people quit buying. And so for several years in that whole time frame, and then after things started to change, then there's this huge spike up here of now demand for apparatus. And that's why we've gone from 9 months to get an engine to a year and a half. That's why the price has gone up. When I was here 12 years ago, we buy an engine for $550,000. Now it's $1.5 million. So I'm not sure if the glider kits that we've talked about in before, how that's impacted by the efforts that the industry has,
Catch up.
because they're trying to make complete fire engines. But we can check on that.
I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah,
Sounds
we
like
can check.
a really cool idea.
Right.
What's that? Chief?
I have not heard, but we can look into it.
Okay,
We are
thank you.
ready. We're gonna do the update. I'm gonna make.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Appropriation request and then we're gonna go. So, okay. Excellent. Thank you. Well, thank you for all the updates. A lot of really positive conversation. I love the direction we're going. The next item is updates on LFRA board requested action items.
This is the tracking sheet that you just need to review and let us know if you've been payment or if you concur on what.
Okay, so this is item 9, the very back page of your packet, most likely. And we kind of already looked at this. You just need a, like, without objection, we approve.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so,
there have been things added from the last board meeting. So each board meeting, you'll get the items that have been added, say, from the previous.
that's perfect. Thank you.
Great idea.
We can approve this without objection? All right, excellent. It is approved. Our next item, really quickly, that I kind of stuck in the middle of here is an appropriation for compilation and compensation analysis. We are asking, we need to ask for $55,000 for an appropriation to look at the full, so the financial kind of review that we originally had discussed, and I think appropriated some, we hadn't appropriated anything yet, we just said we were gonna do it. That plus an opportunity to look at total compensation, including overtime and all of that, from the same organization. And Director Waldes could speak to this. 55,000 is a very conservative number, I don't know about very, but it gives us a little cushion. And we also maybe would want to have conversations with each of the individual boards if they would like to put money towards this as well. Maybe a third, or something like that, so it's not all the 55,000. So that's where I'm at. And so I can put a motion on the table and then we can discuss if you want. I move that we appropriate from our unassigned fund balance, which I'm hoping has this much money, $55,000 to complete or initiate a compilation and compensation analysis. And what's the name of the firm?
Is Baker Tilly our
Okay,
firm?
with Baker Tilly,
Yeah.
Financial firm. So that's a motion, and then that would begin ASAP. So if I can get a second on that, then we can have a conversation before we vote.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Director Waldes, did you want to speak to this?
Thank you, Chair. I think this is something we've been contemplating for a while. I think as part of this conversation moving forward, a big component of this is gonna have to be obviously transparency and trust. We just want to have a third party come in. This is the perfect group, I think, because it is the city's auditor. They also work with you to do the audit here, the LFRA's component. So I think having them maybe come in as a neutral third party, put things into the format that, I think, both sides would want to see, and then also help us understand a little bit better where our compensation challenges are coming from. That would help give us that base level to push off of, to start working on that strategic plan and on funding levels and things like that. So I know it's accounting firm and it's consultants coming and all that, but that's where I want to speak to the trust on both sides of this conversation that we're about to have. This is really the most important one for us to get together and talk about a funding model and how can we move forward sustainably. We have to understand what we're looking at. So that's where this is coming from. I think it can be quick. We had a good talk with them. They're obviously already familiar with a lot of the financials here. This is the work they do. So yeah, I think it would really help us set that baseline of, a set of figures we all agree on and can understand, and then move forward. Yes.
Oh, yes.
When was the last time an analysis like this was done?
Like this, I'm not aware that we've done. We do have an audit every year. So there is a third-party audit every year. This would be that same independent accounting firm coming in and just doing a little more work for us, taking the numbers that they verified and just putting them in a different format for us, basically putting them in different columns, producing maybe a little bit of a history. And that would help us go forward. I didn't mention, how would we fund this? Yeah, 55 will cover it for both the engagements, but do we want to, as the rural and the city, either split it and, give that to the LFRA so they can pay for it, or just pay for it directly? But I think this will put us on that path, so we can just decide between the two of us. I think, depending on the vote, we both want to do this, so we'll just figure out what the most efficient way to pay for it would be, because I don't think it should come out of the LFRA's budget for 26 anyway.
Brian, I'll bring that to the other board.
Good, thank you.
But are we being a little premature then appropriating money that we don't know we have?
That's an excellent question. The reason I want to bring this up today is that we can get started now, which Brian had confirmed that the firm would be able to start moving forward, because we want to be able to have this information available to us as we move through the CBA process. So that it's not just available to us, but also to the local, that everyone has the same data.
Yeah, I can tell you, I'm very reluctant to appropriate any dollars that we don't know we have to say spend.
Well,
That's
we
the problem I have.
$55,000 in our unassigned fund balance.
So we do, please understand that the recommended fund balance minimum is 15%.
Yes.
We are at like 9.
Well, if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
What we would do is the two boards will get together and compensate the LFRA for it, so it's just a timing issue.
Right.
So this way we can just make it into a timing issue.
Yeah.
So you can't, so what I'm hearing is you could cover it for a time. period.
Yes, yes.
Within 26 for
Yeah.
sure, you would be reimbursed.
Well, potentially, if the boards say yes.
Again, if I can, Madam Chair, I haven't. And I get what y'all are saying, but you have a rural board that has to approve this. Your city council has, well, I think it's under the amount that we have city council, right? Where is it? Or does it need to be approved by city council?
$27.50.
If it was gonna be half of it, then it would not need to go to council. No.
Okay, so it's just at the city manager level can approve that.
Correct, be administrative, yes.
Okay, so. Again, I have a serious issue appropriating dollars that we don't have
Okay,
at all.
you can vote no.
Oh, I know, I can. I'm just letting you know where I'm
I
saying.
have an issue not knowing 100% where all the
Understood.
dollars are. And I think that's.
I don't have an
me, this
issue with
is-
what you're asking.
Yeah,
It's just when you start spending dollars that aren't there.
and the LFRA would have to eat that if the rural says no. Then
And,
we would have
and
to
we,
find a
and
way to
and the
eat.
LFRA's funds are already down to 9%,
Right,
and the recommended is 15, so, okay.
but 27
That's
and
why I
a half
say so.
thousand dollars is
That's
not
why I
gonna
say
get us
so.
from 9 to 15. Saying. But I hear you, that's okay, that's absolutely fine. Do we have any other further discussion on this? How do you feel having this conversation with the rural board?
I'd be happy to bring this up to the rural board. I honestly don't see a problem. I'm just one person on the board, Bill's another person on the board, but if this is allowing us to, address the CBA so everybody knows what's going on, I think it's a smart thing to do, and I respect your position on this.
Yeah.
But I'll certainly bring it forward to the board.
Okay,
Okay.
excellent. And Director Waldes, are there funds for the city manager to cover that?
Yes.
Okay. And in the event that it was $27,500, we technically can cover it. We would not like to, but we technically could if we had to. And I don't know that it's gonna be the 55, that is conservative.
Right, that's
Yeah.
conservative. estimate.
So it probably will be less. Yeah, okay, excellent. Any other comments, did you have anything you wanted to say that?
Do we have a time period of what they're going to look, you know what I'm saying? Are they going back
Oh,
to
yeah.
2012 or? What is the time period that they're
1902.
looking at? Do we?
That would be part of the discussion when we sign with them and come up with what, we want the scope to be. I don't know how far back we have to go, but again, they'd be doing most of the polling and stuff like that. 'Cause, we have the systems.
So the fire chief will sign, correct? Because it'll be an LFRA
It would
contract.
be your guys' engagement.
And I would just say, I personally don't know that there's a need to go back any further than like 5 years.
It's really about going forward. And
Yeah.
understanding where we're at right now, in a format that will help us, again, inform the strategic plan going forward. So,
Right.
yeah, the history component of it is gonna serve us
Quite,
too much.
yeah, so not forever, maybe not even 5, maybe 2, something like that.
Let's say.
Okay. Did you have any other thoughts on this? Cause this is,
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know if, when you say you don't feel that you have 100% idea, of the finances. I would love to know more about what that is, because I certainly would like to
Yeah,
help you.
well, it's like when we ask how or why, or, or at 0%, how, or like, how can this have a conversation? Like what shapes this? And so I think one of the big things too, with like overtime, we had 3 years where we were, budgeting at $400,000, but we were spending over $1 million. These kind of things. Now, I don't know that the audit can necessarily answer, and it's not an audit. Sorry, the analysis can answer that question specifically, but maybe it can give us a bigger breakdown of where things are being spent and things could be moved to. I think one of the things that they specialize in is looking at that overtime, right? And how doing things, there can be shifts or whatever, which is something we're talking about with the CBA too. So it's just the foundation, because no decisions will be made based on this, like alone, by the board alone.
Correct.
So that's kind of what it is. And figuring out, yes.
I think, Madam Chair, we've talked about this quite a bit at my executive staff level, and I can tell you, personally, I'm in favor of this. I've talked to all my staff, but I think I can say we are in favor of this because we too would like to see this just clear the decks of everything and start from a flat perspective where we all know what's going on. And it would hopefully eliminate any type of questions or concerns about our budgeting process over here. So we actually welcome this. We think this is a good idea. And I think, if I could just say this, I think from my perspective, the sooner the better.
Okay, I appreciate that, Chief. Thank you. Wonderful. All right, anything else? We're good? Gordon? Okay, if we could do a roll call, please. Christina?
Director Six,
Yes.
Director Bukowski,
Yes, ma'am.
Director Lund,
Yes.
Director McFall,
No.
Director Wall.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now we need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved. I'll second that.
I think we need it actually from our.
This will be,
Yeah,
well, I just
right.
want to clarify for the record, the executive session will be pursuant to CRS 246424B and E to receive advice of legal counsel, discuss matters subject to negotiation, and instruct negotiators regarding collective bargaining. And I will certify for the record that the executive session will constitute privileged attorney-client communications will not be.
Thank you. Without objection, we will recess into executive session. We do anticipate we will be coming back to take action of some kind. So we're in executive. Oh, thank you. I stepped on it. All right. We will wait until our attorney joins us and then we will go back into session, regular session.
Sorry, Michael, yep.
No, we're good. All right, so we'll be back, I guess, from executive session and reopen our regular session. We went into executive session to discuss matters related to the CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement. During which time, per our memorandum of understanding, we need to select prior to tomorrow. We need to designate negotiators on behalf of the authority. And we also need to provide the local with a list of arbitrators by tomorrow. So that piece is being done by our legal counsel. So thank you, Emily and Michelle. And we had conversation regarding our negotiators. I didn't know if anyone maybe would like to kick us off with their thoughts on I don't know, or I can just make a motion if you want to. Okay, so I'd like to move that we designate
Yes.
Chief Morowski, Chief Smith, Director Bukowski, and Director Waldes as our designated authority negotiators for the process of the CBA for 2026.
Love it.
And I would entertain a second.
Second.
Did we want to have any conversation? I would like to say that I would have loved to have been involved in this process, that I have people very close to me who are big labor people. I love labor. However, my daughter is getting a very significant surgery in August. And so that puts me out of commission for most of August. And this process will take August through September. So I would only be good for half the time, which is not helpful for anybody. So I'm grateful that you guys would be willing to step up and do this. And did you want to say something, Dr. Winfall?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I also would like to be involved in this, but unfortunately, half of August, I'm in Hawaii. I know it's a painful thing to hear, but that's where I'll be, so.
Children's Hospital, Hawaii, I mean, you know.
So, but I think both Director Bukowski and Director Waldes will do a good job.
Yes.
If I can just comment quickly, I wasn't anticipating being involved in the process.
You
but
guys, shut up.
I can see, just scheduling other considerations, that would be. Yeah, honored to participate in it, because I think it's a very important conversation. Again, for all the things we've been talking about at this meeting for moving forward.
Yeah.
As a team, so, thank you.
Yes, I'm glad you accept. Thank you for doing it.
Of course.
No comment.
I agree with Brian, this is important, and I think we can work well with President Willard and his organization, and we'll figure out how to make everybody work on this. So it'll be a good shape.
Great. And I should probably just state that the negotiators do the negotiating, but the final decision is made not by the negotiators, but by the guests. So the board will still be involved and, but I appreciate also both. And I should probably ask Chief Smith, would you like to do this? Would you like to be a negotiator? Okay. You're like, actually, no. Okay. Executive session again. And of course, Chief Rowski, we know you were good with that. So thank you all. I guess with all that being said, if we could do a roll call, please.
Director Sampson,
Yes.
Director Bukowski,
Yes, ma'am.
Director Lundquist,
Yes.
Director McFall,
Yes, ma'am.
Director Waldes.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes. We have designated our negotiators. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I don't currently have any other board for business for board consideration, which is our next item because we already got to discuss it. So thank you. Anyone else have anything? Chief, have anything? All right, you guys, we're going to be out before 4. So with that said, I'd like to adjourn today's meeting. Thank you all for attending. See you in a month.
You're under a tornado watch, so.
And we're under a tornado watch.
We are under a tornado.
Us, and then we're good.